with Chiropractic Memphis. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about ear infections and colic with children. I know a lot of the mothers and fathers out there don't know what else they can do, so they tend to go towards the antibiotic route. When that doesn't work, then they go towards the tubes. And so we're going to talk a little bit about today about what else you can do when it comes to helping your children with the ear infections, adenoid, tonsils. Okay, so one thing when it comes to the ear infections is what nerves innervate those areas. So when you look at the upper part of the neck here, all right, there's a branch that innervates the ears, and that's innervates the eustachian tube, right? So when you're looking at this area, the C1 branch innervates this area, and these eustachian tubes are lined with these tensor veli palatini muscles, and they're kind of, what they do is they're kind of like fingers, and what they do is they whisk the fluid and debris down the eustachian tube to clear out the inner ear. Well, if anyone's ever woke up with like a crick in their neck and they can't move that neck, it's because you have a muscle spasm because you have a pinched nerve per se, right? So if you have pressure, if your child has pressure on that nerve that innervates those muscles, the same thing happens. They lock up, so it's not going to allow that tube to get rid of that debris, so it backs up in the inner ear. Now what you have is fluid in the inner ear, and you have a perfect environment for bacteria and viruses to grow, right? Mm-hmm. And so what the medical route will do, it will give you antibiotics, which will kill the bacteria or the virus or the bacteria temporarily, but you still have the environment, you still have the fluid. And so until you get rid of that fluid, well, as soon as you go off the antibiotics, which many of you parents have experienced, your child ear infection comes right back. And so then the last case scenario, what they'll do is they'll put a tube in the eardrum to help that fluid drain outward, all right, to equalize that pressure. Mm-hmm. But what happens is if you get this nerve impingement off here, the stress off that nerve, what happens is these erector muscles will start to just work the way they're supposed to, and they'll start to whisk that fluid down naturally. In 80 to 90% of the time, we're going to be able to prevent the tubes and the surgery. So if you haven't tried it yet, contact our office and set up a checkup for your child. We'll be able to do some easy testing and find out if it is that, and if it is, then hopefully be able to prevent the surgeries and the further use of the antibiotics.
Now, Dr. Dave, what is the earliest age that a baby can be seen by a chiropractor?
All right, so we see children from the day they're born, especially with as traumatic as some birth processes are, mm-hmm. especially with any type of cesarean where there's more pulling and the mother's not able to push as much. The birth process itself can be very traumatic, so we can check the baby right away. There's not, and a lot of you may think, especially if you've been to a chiropractor, you're going to adjust my child like you adjust me. The adjustments are different, they're simpler, we have instruments, and we make it very simple and easy for the child. So, and a lot of times the child, the alignment's fine, but if there is something going on, then we're able to correct that and release that stress in the nervous system, and the nerve are able to communicate, the brain and nervous system are able to communicate with all the organs in the body, and then all of a sudden the body starts functioning the way it's supposed to.
All right, and what about colic?
All right, so we look at the colic, that's going to be more in the mid-back region, right?
Okay.
So the baby's been tucked up in the fetal position for a long time.
Right.
And what we see here, if you look at the stomach, right, and you're able to trace these nerves back, it comes right to the mid-back. So not only is C1 important because it deals with all the immune functions, but that mid-back region goes to the stomach, esophagus area, and so you're able to get that area moving. And keep in mind, if these nerves are not communicating with the stomach acids and the stomach muscles and the timing of the digestion, everything can't work the way it's supposed to. You're basically choking those nerves off. So if you release that, then all of a sudden the body starts to function the way it's supposed to once again, right? The neat thing with our bodies is they're designed to be self-healing and self-regulating, right? Which means that if you get a cut, it heals. If you get sick, you get better. If it's not doing that, then something's wrong. It's not that you have a lack of antibiotics. It's not that you have a lack of surgery. It's not that you have too many organs. We're going to take this these adenoids or tonsils out. There's something interfering, so you have to still get down to the root of the problem. Say if your child's having swollen tonsils, adenoids. Now keep in mind that's an immune response. So if there's an immune response and all you do is take out the tonsils and adenoids, you haven't addressed what caused the immune response in the first place.
Yeah.
So now all that's going to lead to is further on, let's say it's food allergies to dairy, to gluten, to nut, to whatever, that's creating this inflammatory response in the child's body. If you don't address that, all you did is you took out, it's kind of like covering up the oil light.
Yeah.
You're still having a problem, but now all of a sudden it's going to move down to the stomach. So all of a sudden now they have some gut issues, or further down later in life will move down to the digestive tract. So now they have irritable bowel, Crohn's, diverticulitis, because you haven't addressed the irritants in the first place. So you still have to address those. And keep in mind, those are all warning signs. So the ear infection is a warning sign. The swollen adenoids, the tonsils, those are warning. There's different things. The asthma, those are all just symptoms and warning signs. Don't treat the symptoms. Figure out what the cause is, and that's what we do.
Go to the source.
Exactly.
So do you do more than spinal manipulation? Do you also assist in analyzing what the source is?
Absolutely. And we also, with the being a Maximized Living Center, we focus on the 5 essentials. So we're going to focus on maximizing your mind, maximizing your nervous system through chiropractic, which, like we talked about, the nervous system controls everything in your body. So if there's any stress in any part of this body, wherever those nerves go, cannot function at 100%. We're going to focus on your nutrition, maximizing your nutrition, maximizing your exercise, and then minimizing toxicity. And that's another big one that people are not addressing. We live in a very toxic environment, and if you're not pulling those toxins out, they're constantly building in your body, and those can create problems and wreak havoc in your body, from heart diseases to cancers to you name it, any of the diseases that we're dealing with the fibromyalgia, lupus, all these different things. A lot of these things are just toxic buildup, so you got to start lowering that toxic threshold, and your body can start to function and be lifeful again the way it's supposed to.
So you're a full life consultant, not only a spinal adjuster. You look at the whole dynamics of what health consists of.